In this video, I'm going to show you how to migrate and optimize your Webflow site for conversions in 2026. Whether you're a SaaS business or an enterprise business, this is going to be a masterclass in setting up your Webflow site, building your SEO strategy, brand authority, how to set up your integrations and automations, project management inside Webflow, and design secrets that we use at FlowOut to help over 350 other startups and enterprises like Jasper, Stripe and Kajabi grow their businesses with Webflow. This is a combined training from our 2026 webinar optimization series. If you are a leader in your company, make sure to send this to your marketing team or whoever is in charge of conversions in your company. Not all trainings will apply to your use case, so feel free to skip around in the chapters below to whatever part is most useful for you. I'm sure you will find some parts that will make a big difference in how you think about conversions and your company's success. Now let's go to the first training, the introduction to Webflow. What it is and how to use it.
About Webflow. Webflow as a tool, as a platform, they call it the website experience platform. So what this means is they market their platform as basically three main features. One is to build scalable websites that are easy to maintain with a visual builder, also including custom code. So it's not necessarily a no-code tool. It can also be a low-code tool or a lot of code tool if you would like to just use it for one part of your entire stack. Essentially, it speeds up the grunt work, which is slicing your designs or designing actually inside Webflow, rather than doing that all in markup and using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript by hand, as well as any backend code and setting it up in a CDN and so on. It also helps you manage the website by using the Webflow editor. It's a second mode that they have. It's very easy for marketing teams to add new articles in the CMS, to edit items, edit content, even add new landing pages using a build mode. And it also offers optimization. So you can optimize your website for search engines, so SEO optimization, which is very powerful in Webflow, as well as CRO, so conversion rate optimization, either by using Webflow Optimize, which is an amazing built-in feature, or actually an add-on, should I say, as well as third-party tools. Let me give you a quick demo of how exactly Webflow works. So this is a project, a website, an actual website that we built for ourselves. It's from Optibase. So let's check out first the designer mode. This is what a Webflow developer would usually see. This is what you would start to build a website in. Of course, we already built a website. It consists of various elements such as titles, subtitles and texts, buttons, and components. So all of the green parts are components, which are global items that can be seen or that can be reused anywhere on the website. With components, you can also modify them. So a very good feature is, for example, if you would like to have this specific section on many pages, but you would like to have different titles and let's say labels, you can use these as variables. And let's say we want to change the title. Let's say lorem ipsum. You can also change everything directly in Webflow in the component itself. And for example, if we want to reuse the same component here as well, this one is features, we can just drag and drop components on any landing page. So this one is a new component, as you can see, with the original title and label, which we can then change. It's also very easy to change any text here. So you just select it, change the text. Changing links is just as easy. By using the visual builder, where it should link. It can be an existing site, it can be a new URL, an email, phone, or even a file. Same goes for images. You can just select a different image. Let's say we want to use this one here, and that's it. So very straightforward, very easy. There's of course also the build mode, which takes away a few features. So in this case, we can't use custom code and similar. We can just copy and paste components and add new components on the site or edit them. And then there's also a very powerful editor mode. And this is something, let's say, a website editor in the marketing team would use just to change the text, just to change the copy, maybe add new blog posts and similar. So you have a visual view of the entire website. And here you can just click the edit icon and change the text. Same goes for images. Same goes for links. So anything that you would like to change, it's pretty straightforward. You also have collections available for editors, let's say blog posts, which can be edited, which can be saved, which can be published directly from the editor view.
Now, even if you know how to use Webflow and what it is, The main difference in your success on getting conversions from your site will be if you can get enough traffic on your site and beat the competition on the important keywords when it comes to SEO. Webflow is an amazing platform when it comes to SEO optimization, but there are still a couple of tactics that we use to make sure our clients get ahead of their competition. Watch this training next, where we go into how we do it.
Usually, when we do an SEO, people start doing page first, okay? And they don't take SEO in concern. SEO guy is probably going to take a look at it later. Yeah. This is the usual sentence that I get. Wrong. SEO should start working before the design. Okay, so usually the SEO research is quite deep in comparison with other researchers and brings out the data that design would die for it. Okay, so it's very important for you to understand how search work. Let's just say that search work through search intent types. Okay, so what search intent is, people conduct a search. So the search intent answers why people are conducting a search. And if you understand how people search those 4 types that you can Google, so just type in Google what are the search intent types and you're going to get an answer. If you understand how your customer, your visitor is currently looking, you can adjust to that. So for instance, if I'm looking for vitamin D, keyword vitamin D, okay, there are only 2 reasons for me to do that. One is to get an information about vitamin D, maybe I'm in deficiency or something, and the other one is to buy it. For you, it's very important to create a page that is talking about vitamin D and has products listed below as well. We call that your page answers for 2 types of 4 types search intent, okay, of search intent. So you're answering 2 types. If you have information and products, just read more about, please, about search intent types. They're quite a big deal. Basically, all web currently and all SEO works on that. From BERT update, so that was an update done by Google. So Google has very good understanding of your words, semantics, texts, and everything together. So please abuse that or use that. Okay. So it's very important you to research keywords that have better rankings, that are directly answering for the need that your site needs to take care of, basically. So it's very important for you to optimize for intent. Okay. And I'm writing down here especially elements. Elements are basically titles, meta description, and H1 on the page. Okay, those are all the elements. So if you're currently having a keyword and you're not putting those keywords in those top 4, top 5 elements, so title, URL, meta description, H1, H2, and maybe structured data or FAQ if you have it in the below content. If you're not putting those keyword in those elements in a natural way, so don't keyword stuff them. Okay, Google is gonna find out eventually. He has a Google Penguin and Google Panda, 2 algorithms that one of them is already integrated into the system and is checking if you're doing SEO. Okay, it's very important. So be very natural, right, for the user, not for the Google, and put those keywords in those elements. You must create as much as internal links across all CMS in Webflow as you can. So if you have, for instance, 100 URLs, those URLs are like 50 URLs are pointing to specific URL. That tells Google that URL that everything is pointing to is very important. So internal link, responsibility of internal link is to get better understanding to Google, give better understanding to Google what is important. So have them as much as you can. Everything should be linkable. Maybe if you want to advance approach, read about silo structuring of a web page. What you need to do is also align blog content with SEO goals. So if your SEO goal is to rank for something, that doesn't mean that you just need to answer that. You need to have a bunch of content on a web page to have a better understanding for Google and to rank for that. So if you want to rank for, I don't know, web design agency or something, and you're not talking a lot about web design in your blog, you have problems. You're not getting trust from Google. Okay. For today's purposes, I borrowed some stuff from SEMrush and Search Engine Land, and I'm showing it to you. So on the left, we are having factor influence for top 20 results. So basically, what is currently a ranking factor? And as you can see, text relevance is the strongest. So if your page is has high text relevance, you're gonna get additional ranking boost for that. Okay, you're gonna get recognized as a good page. The second one is URL's organic traffic. So we can say that I don't know if you remember, but Yandex last year there was a security breach. Okay, and a lot of people found how Yandex work, and top stuff was if you have a large amount of organic traffic, you're gonna get high ranking. So it's kind of a paradox thing. Okay, how can I rank for organic if I have organic, and how do I get organic if I don't rank? So it's quite controversial, and yeah, basically it is. So if you go out on the street and convince 1,000 people to come on your website, you're probably gonna improve your rankings immediately. Yeah. So URLs for specific URL should rank well if it has an organic traffic. How to boost that? You have some, you can boost that over the social media and everything, and people come back then later on. That's called attribution model, but I'm not going to talk about that. So the other one is domain organic traffic. So if the whole domain has a lot of organic traffic, everything that you do it's easier basically. Okay. There are some other rankings. There the list goes on and on and on, but what you should be careful is is shown on the right, the image on the right. So I think currently displaying is 0 searches. I don't know if you heard it, but a large amount of clicks never happens. So when people conducting search, they don't click it. Why? I'm going to explain it now. I have data for America and European Union or Europe. So 41.5 clicks gets if you are high on Google, 7.1 of searches does nothing, and 21.4% leads to another search. Together, these two are 0 click searches. So you're not going to get traffic from that. Why? Because people don't like to click. I know. They're searching why they don't click. Because they are improving their search. Because they are not satisfied with the data that Google provides, the Google reply to them. Okay. And it's the same in Europe. Maybe slightly lower. Okay. So what you need to do is not just to be there on top. You need to have a good meta description, good title to get those conversion. Okay. And you need to remember that the most important sentence, you need to answer their search intent. So what can you do for today? You can add meta titles and alt text to your key pages. You can optimize mobile ad and test performance. Okay. You need to always test. You can add structured data for blog and FAQ content. My personal hack. Okay. Always go for FAQ content. Maybe your page is not answering the search intent, but FAQ does. If you're mentioning the price in FAQ, it's very good because people always need to know about the prices. You can submit sitemap in Search Console, set up the Search Console, submit sitemap, and Google is going to find out each and every URL that you have. Start building content around real search queries. So research which queries are important for you and start building content about that, around that. And people remember, if you submit a web page, that doesn't mean that Google is going to crawl it. Okay, so I'm submitting web page in Google Search Console. That doesn't mean that Google is going to crawl it. If it crawls it, okay, reads it, okay, that doesn't mean that it's going to pop up in the index. If it pops up in the index, that doesn't mean that it's going to get high ranking. So there is a couple of phases that you need to carefully address and basically be very, very thorough and complete. Always go for EEAT. That's something that's quite important. But please Google on that short-term EEAT.
Now, getting the traffic to your site is one thing, but building a relationship with the people who visit it and your customers is another. You probably heard of terms thought leadership, brand building, and brand optimization, but most likely nobody has defined what those mean and how to improve on those efficiently yet. So in the next training, Jacob, our marketing expert, is going to show you exactly how you can do that so people remember you more than your competitors.
Why does brand authority matter? Why should your brand aim at becoming an authority within your industry? Well, okay, simply put, it helps build trust to your customers, to your partners, and even to any talent which you might want to attract as you scale. All of these want to associate with brands that have a certain level of credibility, brands that start apart from the competition, okay? This is the first step.
Well, it's more than just sharing content, okay? Thought leadership is about providing some deep expert insight, some genuinely original perspectives, and so always in whatever content you're producing to actually deliver real tangible value to your audience. So it's about having something meaningful and useful to say that other brands, other companies aren't saying or haven't thought about yet. That is the first step. So some of these things are, yes, I said, expert insights, original perspectives, and the third is value-driven content. If we talk about value-driven content, okay, what is that? Well, value-driven content, clues in the title, is content that's intentionally created to solve audience problems, answer their questions, or just to enhance their lives or their business process. So instead of focusing purely on self-promotion, it's delivering benefits and building trust with your target segment, rather than trying to push yourself or your product down their throat. So really address their needs. So what does thought leadership look like? Well, a good example is McKinsey. So McKinsey, as I'm sure everyone is familiar with, one of the big 5 consulting companies. Most of their content is actually not focused on promoting themselves, but by really providing very detailed, very in-depth research and reports on a variety of subjects. These reports have become so effective and so valued throughout the world that these insights that they are providing is actually influencing the directions entire industries move in, and it drives an incredible amount of growth for McKinsey, because by showcasing that expertise, they are far more likely to become the primary trusted partner that you go to in order to feel that need. So what's the 3 pillars of compelling thought leadership? How do you become a thought leader? Well, you need authenticity, you need expertise, and you need consistency. So authenticity obviously means being authentic, being genuine. One of my primary examples I always come back to is Patagonia is very, very clear on one thing. They are extremely committed to sustainability and either recycled, upcycled, or renewable materials. And this is something they've been pushing for ages. Expertise. Okay, well, Deloitte does an annual global human capital trends report. Okay, they do it every year. They do it at the same date. And this is something that people are really looking into. So that is something you need to keep on. The expertise, the authenticity, and the consistency. So consistency as well. Some of you may be familiar with a guy called Neil Patel. He is probably one of the guys who essentially wrote the book on digital marketing. He consistently, at a paced frequency and at a paced quality level, keeps delivering content to his target audience. And it's turned him into kind of one of the gurus of the online marketing world. You may disagree with his methodology, but there's no doubt about that he's extremely well recognized. Go. The big question, right? How do we create compelling thought leadership content? Well, I'd like to go back to first principles here. Right? What is the easiest common denominator, right? What is it that sets your brand apart? That is your first question you need to ask yourself whenever you're creating a piece of content. What sets your brand apart? What is it our audience needs or feels challenged by? Then figure out what is the correct format to deliver that. Is it a white paper? Is it a report? Is it an in-depth research paper? Is it a blog post? Is it a podcast? Is it a webinar? There's a million different possibilities out there. There's a lot of different content formats. Figure out which one resonates most closely with your audience. And there's going to be some trial and error there. But if you understand your audience, you should know what it is they're interested in. And if you really want to maximize your content's reach, a good thing to look at is a multi-channel approach by implementing the content flywheel. One piece of content which can start out its life as a big technical white paper can be sliced and diced into a million different smaller, more easily consumable chunks.
Now, once people reach your site and remember you, you want to make sure they don't fall through the cracks and that you catch every lead and move them down the funnel. In the next training, we are going to show you how to build efficient integrations and automations into Webflow, that catch leads, automate workflows, and make your processes more efficient.
These type of integrations are usually done by even clients, so they don't even need our help with that. So they're pretty simple. All that's need to be done is copy the snippet at a dashboard of the tool you're using, and you usually also get instructions on how to use them. So most common use cases are you're gonna copy paste them into a head or footer of the page. And another common option is simply adding the snippet in custom embed element. That's how it's called in Webflow. You can also see it on the screenshot. So with these types of integrations, you can integrate simple forms from HubSpot, Pardot, or MailChimp, or you can even integrate some larger stuff like chatbots, whole spreadsheets, or even charts. You are not limited in by Webflow in any way. Basically, you're just dependent on a tool you use. So if you build a form in one of the tools and embed it, you can't really tweak it or add customizations to it later. These types of integrations usually load in an iframe element, and that element acts like a window to another page that we can't really access from our side. So whatever you get from dashboard of that tool, you pretty much get that on the page. There are some downsides with these types of integrations, of course. One of the major ones is it can hurt your site performance, because scripts like this usually include even more external scripts. So it might not hurt your performance too much if you just use it here and there, but it can build up if you use it for every use case. So in the example here on the screenshot, you can see a simple HubSpot form embed. This is the type of integration that you would copy paste in a code embed, because it needs to display at a specific place on a website. And we'll also use HubSpot multiple times because they offer various types of integrations. It's also one of the most common integrations we do. So next, we'll cover Webflow apps. So Marketplace for apps is a fairly new feature in Webflow. So it's definitely not as extensive as maybe WordPress, but they should cover most cases. So on the right, you can see a screenshot of popular apps. There's HubSpot on it, of course, but there are also some others that are worth mentioning. So one of those is MemberStack. They will provide you an ability to add subscriptions, user accounts, or gated content to your project. You'd use them, for example, if you have some content behind paywall, or if certain parts of your page should only be visible to registered users. I think if that's your use case, they're definitely worth checking out. So a solution like this would be very hard and time-consuming to engineer from scratch. So I think it's a great choice if that's something your project needs, and you can implement it without writing a line of code, of course. So that's pretty awesome. You can also see on the list Jasper, one of our clients, of course. It's used for faster content writing. And there's also one of our products called Webflow that is used for video hosting. And one product that is not on the list, but I should definitely mention, is Stripe. You probably know them if you've ever worked with online payments. They offer online payment system, and they do have their Webflow app. So we can't possibly name all the apps here, but if your project has some specific needs, I think it might be worth checking out the marketplace to see if there's anything for you. So the next thing we'll cover is workflow automations with Zapier. There are, of course, other tools that are similar, like Make or N8N, but Zapier is the most common one. I've never heard any client not being happy with it, and I personally also never had any issues with it. So Zapier is used to integrate other tools with Webflow. It's really simple and intuitive to use, and they'll guide you through any process you'll need, like connecting it to other tools as well as creating workflows. The only thing required from the user is that you just need to know what you want to connect, and they'll pretty much guide you through it. They provide you with visual workflow builder as seen on screenshot. So that way you can easily add or remove or reorder paths. Pop-up on the right side will even guide you through the processes you're trying to do. So for example, you would select a certain step, a pop-up on the right would appear, and it would guide you through each step. That can be either, I don't know, adding contacts to CRM, to spreadsheets, or even connect Webflow back to Webflow. So maybe a use case for that would be you have a form on your website for testimonials and you want to send those back to Webflow in a CMS so you can later display them. So once you have data in Zapier, there's very little limit to what you can do. So they claim they integrate with over 8,000 apps, and I haven't tested them all, of course. So I guess we're just going to have to trust that statistic. So an example here on the right side, it's not a real world example. It's the one I made for this presentation specifically, but it's connected to a simple Webflow form. And that form in Webflow has just a simple email field. It has a drop down for a company size, so the user can select how many employees their company has. And there's a checkbox at the bottom for user just to agreeing to our privacy policy and that they're okay with receiving marketing material. So once we have that connected, we start at the top, of course, and as you can see, the paths are split. And the first path is for the use case when the user selected that their company has less than 100 employees. They also check the privacy policy checkbox. So we would add a user like that to our normal HubSpot list. And at the bottom, you can see we also have Google Spreadsheet connected, and that's where we're sending the company size data, which we are planning to use and analyze when we have more submissions. We can maybe use it later for adjusting the conditions of what makes a lead qualified. So the second path is probably a bit more interesting one. This one is for our priority clients. So the ones that we want to give a priority support to. And it's for those who have selected more than 100 employees and they've checked the checkbox too, of course. We add them to a different list in HubSpot, so we can call it a priority list. And after that, you can also see that we send out an email. We can send out, for example, a personalized email, in this case through SendGrid, maybe even with Calendly link in it. And lastly, we send the company size data to our Google Spreadsheet the same way as before. And the third and last path is for the users who have unchecked the privacy checkbox. So we can do with these users something like disregard them altogether, or in our case, we send them an email making them maybe reconsider. As you can see, Zapier can really extend the Webflow capabilities. And this here is just a simple example. It was, of course, done with no code, but Zapier can do much more than that. It's usually used as a no-code tool, but it does have code capabilities, so you can pretty much make it as simple or as complex as you need to be.
If you're a SaaS business or an enterprise, you're most likely looking into working with an external partner when it comes to optimizing your Webflow site and implementing the changes that your marketing team decides to make. If you've tried working with Webflow experts before, you know that if not set up the right way, the collaboration can quickly turn into overrun budgets, missed deadlines, broken down communication. In the next training, Petra, our project manager, is going to show you how to establish a well-oiled collaboration with the Webflow agency, like FlowOut for example, so that you can get the most out of the collaboration and the changes get implemented quickly, on time and on budget.
How we do it at FlowOut. During the sales process, we take the time to prepare a comprehensive brief about the project and the client. Based on this information, we handpick the best project manager to take the job. The selected project manager is then introduced to the client's project manager and other key team members through our dashboard or Slack channels. And if additional information is needed, we schedule a kickoff meeting to ensure everyone is aligned. Our workflow usually includes putting manageable tasks into our special dashboard as requests, and we take it from there. In most cases, the dashboard is also our primary tool of planning, task delegation, and client confirmation. For day-to-day communication with clients and among team members, we use dedicated channels in Slack, and we find this to be the perfect tool. For some bigger ongoing projects, we also use Asana. We have a strong support system in Teams internally, and we also chat on a regular basis. For example, among developers, or we project managers are in touch to help each other tackle any challenges on a daily basis. That's about it. Once the foundation is set with clear planning, communication, and collaboration, the projects essentially run themselves. And remember, clear communication, well-defined roles, proactive approach to planning, those are the cornerstones of effective project management. I'm confident that by focusing on these areas, you can build a well-oiled cooperation for your Webflow projects and achieve your marketing goals faster and more effectively.
Now, even if you have a well-oiled collaboration with your agency and you have the traffic and the automations, conversions can break down if your website design isn't optimized for them. So in the next training, we are going to show you how to optimize your design so that your Webflow site gets remembered by users on first visit and turns them into leads and customers as fast as possible.
A cohesive brand makes it easier for customers to remember you. Repeated exposure to the same fonts, colors, and design patterns reinforces your brand in their minds. After a while, people can identify your brand on site, even before reading the name itself. When a site's design looks professional and consistent, visitors subconsciously trust that the company behind it is just as reliable. This kind of trust is crucial. Even if your product is excellent, inconsistencies in layout or style can give off an amateur vibe that deters potential leads. Your brand visuals should communicate who you are and what sets you apart in a crowded market. If you're a forward-thinking tech startup, for instance, your design choices might be sleek and modern to convey innovation. And for more traditional industries, a classic and refined palette might work better. And this kind of alignment is vital for founders and CMOs looking to establish a unique identity that truly resonates with their target audience. In Webflow, you have powerful tools to shape a unified look and feel without ever having to jump into complex coding. So this is one of the reasons I love the platform. It empowers both designers and non-designers to take the reins of their brand representation online. First, define your brand guidelines. So colors, typography, and iconography should be consistent across every channel. In Webflow, this means that using global swatches for your color palette lets you change or refine a hue once and watch it update automatically across the entire site. This feature really is a game changer for teams who frequently iterate on design. Next, select fonts and font sizes that align with your brand's core personality. Something fun and bold for an edgy consumer brand, or maybe something more professional and subdued for corporate industries. So keeping text styles consistent helps visitors focus on your message rather than getting distracted by sudden changes in type. One of my favorite Webflow features is symbols. It lets you turn recurring elements like navigation bars, footers, or call to action blocks into reusable components. And instead of manually editing the same module on every page, you just update the symbol once. That edit then propagates site-wide instantly. It preserves consistency and saves you a ton of effort whenever a brand tweak is necessary. And remember, you can still get creative. Consistency doesn't mean bland or repetitive. It just means that all creative decisions work together under a bigger visual system. And this approach ensures your site remains flexible enough for experimentation while still adhering to the brand guidelines you set. Why does all of this matter for your bottom line? At the end of the day, no one invests time in a brand overhaul just for the sake of having a pretty website. When every page, form, and button follows the same design language, users subconsciously feel that the business is organized and trustworthy. That sense of order often tips the scales in your favor. It might be the nudge the visitor needs to fill out a lead form, subscribes to your newsletter, or complete a purchase. Cohesive branding also keeps visitors around for longer, encouraging them to delve deeper into your content, whether it's product pages, blog posts, or case studies. And the more a user explores, the higher the chance they'll find something that speaks directly to their needs. In the end, that boosts engagement and ultimately conversions. And from an operational standpoint, Having a well-documented style guide and reusable elements in Webflow means that your entire team, so not just designers, but designers, marketers, developers, and everybody can roll out campaigns or make site-wide updates more efficiently. No more chasing random color codes or conflicting fonts. Instead, now you have a streamlined approach that frees everyone to focus on strategy. You shouldn't be micromanaging aesthetics. And efficiency can be a major asset for companies with quick product turnarounds or seasonal promotions. Now, let's shift gears and talk about responsive design. Over half of all global web traffic today is on mobile devices, and that percentage is only expected to climb as more people rely on smartphones for daily tasks. If your layout feels cramped or broken on a small screen, you risk losing potential customers within seconds. They'll bounce off your page and never return. It's not just about user experience. Search engines like Google explicitly prioritize mobile-friendly sites in their rankings. So that means that ignoring mobile optimization can severely limit your visibility in search results. In other words, if your pages aren't ready for various screen sizes and resolutions, you're missing out on both usability and discoverability. That means that fewer eyeballs on your site, less time spent per user session, and ultimately fewer conversions. So whether you're a sole entrepreneur or leading a large marketing team, responsiveness isn't just a design preference. It's table stakes for competing in today's digital landscape. Webflow takes a lot of the guesswork out of responsive design. It provides automatic breakpoints for desktop, tablet, and mobile variants. It allows you to see how the design adapts in real time, and that can be incredibly helpful for spotting quick fixes. And here's how you can leverage these features effectively. You should always tweak your layout for each breakpoint individually. For example, if a hero image looks great on desktop but feels overwhelming on a mobile screen, you can resize it just for mobile and perhaps make the text bigger, the image smaller, and so that way the page remains user-friendly. Webflow also has a preview mode. It lets you switch between breakpoints in seconds, so you never have to guess how your site might look on a tablet versus a desktop. And this level of instant feedback streamlines your workflow and helps you catch inconsistencies immediately. So we also have global swatches and settings, and that means when you modify a class or a style at smaller breakpoints, it won't automatically override your desktop design. So this cascading rule structure allows you to maintain a stable baseline for larger screens while making targeted changes for smaller devices. Essentially, you're adapting your design without sacrificing the brand consistency you worked so hard to build. Still, there are a few pitfalls to watch out for. No matter how user-friendly this platform might be, you shouldn't be ignoring edge cases. Sometimes designers only test on very large desktop screens and on smaller mobile screens, and they miss out on intermediate sizes like tablets or large phones. You should always check how your design scales across the spectrum. You can use analytics, and they can guide you to which breakpoints matter most for your specific audience. Another one is also oversized images. Big, unoptimized images slow down load times and frustrate users. They can also hurt your SEO because search engines consider page speed when ranking sites. Tools like WebP or Aviv can help you compress images without sacrificing clarity, so your pages load quickly on any device. And always think about font sizes and spacing. A headline that looks clean on your widescreen monitor might overwhelm a smaller phone display, or end up looking too small on a tablet. Always refine spacing and typography across breakpoints to keep everything legible and well-balanced. Next, let's look at speedy prototyping and iteration. This is one of my favorite advantages of using a no-code platform like Webflow. In a very traditional environment, designers create mockups first, then developers code them, and everyone waits for a staging site to test changes. This process can drag on for a while, weeks, maybe even months. It makes it harder to respond to market shifts or new ideas. With Webflow, you can quickly spin up a new page or landing section for a marketing campaign, often within the same day. So just open the designer, add your elements, and you've got a functional wireframe ready for immediate feedback. And testing interactions or animations is also super easy. You can layer in animations, transitions, or parallax effects without you writing JavaScript. That means you can experiment with creative concepts more freely, and that leads to unique site experiences that make your brand stand out. For managers and CEOs, this accelerated cycle means projects stay on track within budget. You won't have to pay a developer every time you want to see how a new call to action might look. Instead, you can iterate quickly, release updates, gather user data, and refine again. This, in the end, fosters a culture of continuous improvement. And when you wireframe or prototype in Webflow, you can publish a staging link immediately. That way your team, stakeholders, or even beta customers can click through the design, fill out forms, or even watch embedded videos. This real-time testing environment allows you to catch user flow issues early. Maybe a button isn't prominent enough, or the copy doesn't quite match your brand voice. By catching these things before going live, you reduce the chance of launching a site or campaign that falls flat. And if your marketing team wants a seasonal promotion or a limited time matter, You can have it up and running almost instantly. They provide their feedback, you tweak the design, and push it live, all without writing any code. So this rapid iteration saves not only time, but also money, allowing everyone to focus on what matters most, delivering a seamless, engaging experience that converts. And frequent iteration also brings several key benefits. Definitely better user engagement. So a site that's updated regularly feels relevant and fresh. It encourages repeat visits and signals to your audience that you're attentive to current trends or seasonal shifts. And once you launch a prototype, you can connect it with analytics or A/B testing platforms to see how people interact with your design. If engagement is lower than expected, you can pivot quickly, adjust visuals or copy until you find the sweet spot. And for rapidly expanding startups or established businesses, exploring new verticals, having the flexibility to pivot quickly, that is all a massive advantage. You can respond to emerging market needs, customer feedback, or product changes in near real time. That keeps your brand one step ahead of the competition. And that just about wraps up our session. So let's briefly recap the key points we've discussed. Consistent branding. You should always ensure that every design element, color, typography, layout works in harmony. It should build trust and significantly impact conversion. You should use Webflow style guide features, global color swatches, and symbols to maintain coherence. The next one is responsive design, and with the majority of traffic coming from mobile devices, a site that adapts to various screen sizes is no longer optional. And Google heavily factors mobile friendliness into search rankings. This makes responsiveness a cornerstone of SEO and user experience alike. And the last one is 3D prototyping and iteration. So by leveraging Webflow's no-code environment, you can design, test, and refine quickly. This saves you time and cost. And agility does not help you stay competitive, but it also allows you to deliver a site experience that genuinely resonates with your audience.
Now this was a long one, but there is one more thing that we haven't mentioned inside all these trainings that can break the progress you're making on your site, even if you do everything we mentioned right. And it's because of AI. More and more search traffic is moving toward chat models like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and others. And companies that are not ready for it will suffer big traffic losses because of it. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to optimize your site for AI chat interfaces so that you get mentioned first when a prospect is searching for a company to buy from. I'll see you in the next video.